Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and in today's video I'm going to share with you guys my Game Week 8 team selection. The wildcard is active. It's been active for the whole of the international break. Lots of tinkering has been going on and I've landed on my final wildcard draft for Game Week 8. I'm pretty much 99.5% locked. The only 0.5% that may change a couple of picks here is only if they get injured. Even this Enzo pick, who's currently yellow flagged, I'll speak about in a bit, but it seems like he'll be fine and will be in the draft as well. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be how my draft looks like going into Game Week 8. I'll talk through some of the picks as well. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please do drop a like. Please do subscribe as well. And just before we start, I just wanted to give a huge thank you to every single one of you, all 12,000 of the subscribers on YouTube, because we have just hit this incredible milestone, and I thank each and every one of you for helping and being a part of this whole creator journey for me. I really appreciate all the love and support that every single one of you show on my videos, whether it's liking, commenting, or even just watching. I appreciate every single one of you. So thank you for helping to hit the milestone on this channel, and we will continue to press on for even more. So going into the Game Week 8 wildcard draft now, I'm not going to bore you guys talking about the same old things every single video. If you've been watching the whole of the international break, you realize that majority of these picks here still stay the same, but I want to talk through the differences that I've made to this draft as compared to the previous one that I just uploaded on Tuesday. Now, the main difference is having Voltemade in here instead of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and also having Diouf from West Ham instead of Dan Burn. Now, I'll speak a bit about Voltemade first, because upgrading Calvert-Lewin all the way up to Voltemade has made me go for some sacrifices elsewhere, which I do think is justified, but I'll speak about Voltemade first. He has been in incredible form for Newcastle, and he even scored during the international break as well. I do think that he will continue to take along. Vissa also continues to be out, and if Anthony Gordon is off the pitch, then Voltemade is the next penalty taker in line to take penalties, and that's great for him. So looking at my team budget and what I was able to afford, I could actually upgrade Dominic Calvert-Lewin up to Voltemade. The only sacrifice then would be dropping Dan Burn, who was originally in place of Diouf, down to a 4.4 Diouf from West Ham. Now, there are a couple of reasons why I think I favor this combination instead of the Burn plus Calvert-Lewin combination. Firstly, I definitely think Voltemade is better than Calvert-Lewin, but also that in terms of Dan Burn, in Game Week 8, they play Brighton away, and I'd be playing two Newcastle assets against Brighton, which I don't think is ideal. And then already looking forward into the next few game weeks, I actually do have plans to sell Dan Burn as early as Game Week 10 if I do have him in the draft. So the alternatives for me, instead of going for Dan Burn at that point, was also looking at players like Chalobah or even Cucurella. Cucurella was too expensive, and the reason why I mention these Chelsea players is because their fixtures are truly very good. But if I do go for Cucurella, he takes up quite a bit of budget, so I can't go there. And the thing with Chalobah is that I'm not fully certain he will start every single game, and I am bench boosting in Game Week 9, so I need at least to be sure that he'll be starting in both games. And I'm not so sure Chalobah will, because Wesley Fofana is coming back from injury, and Tosin Adarabioyo as well. And also, just talking about Chelsea assets before I go back to Diouf, is that Enzo Fernandez is also reported to be likely fit for the Nottingham Forest game. All this news, right, about Wesley Fofana, Tosin, as well as Enzo Fernandez is from Niza Kinsler from Twitter, and he's a very reliable Chelsea source as well. Obviously, as I'm recording this, which is on Thursday night, we will have the press conference from Maresca tomorrow, which by the time you're watching this, maybe it's out already and you will have a more informed view. But at least while I'm recording, I'm pretty certain that Enzo will be fine, and also Fofana as well as Adarabioyo, in which case I'm not so sure Chalobah plays every single game. And given that's the case, I don't really want to spend 5.1 million on him. So no Chelsea defenders, no Newcastle defenders, and looking at the budget that I have, which was at that point 4.6 million, I think the best option here is to gamble on Diouf. Brentford at home now, and then in Game Week 9 they play Leeds. He has picked up quite a number of attacking returns already. At least I know he's guaranteed to start both games. He does have quite high of a ceiling if West Ham do keep a clean sheet. I am obviously taking a chance here. And then come game week 10, I'll be selling him for Richards as well. And I have enough money in the bank, 0.2 million as you see in the top left hand of your screen, to upgrade Diouf to Richards once game week 10 comes around, to deal with the fixtures after that. So I do have plans and I'll share that in the tinkering section, but that's why I think going for Diouf here instead of Dan Burn, who was originally in his place, is not too bad of a trade-off. So I think for game week 8, making these two changes, which is Burn and Calvert-Lewin out for Diouf and Voltemade, the rest of my draft stays the same. So Pope and Dubravka still the keepers, double Arsenal defense in Timber and Gabriel, still prefer Timber over Raya in terms of going for a double Arsenal defense, because Timber obviously has a much higher ceiling and I'm also quite confident of his starts. In midfield, it has largely been the same, and also Enzo Fernandez, as I've mentioned, likely to be fine against Nottingham Forest, and then Caicedo on the bench is someone that I think for long term will be in my team, so he's here. Now in game week 8 they play Forest, he's on the bench. If somehow Enzo misses out, then Caicedo comes in, but either ways from game week 9, I'm pretty confident that both will start against Sunderland, and that's where maybe both can help me to cover João Pedro, who I don't have, because up front it's Erling Haaland, Voltemade and Bowen. Bowen obviously is a bit of a differential pick that I don't think a lot of people will go for, so hopefully he does bang on in the next few game weeks. And then the last player on the bench, the last two players on the bench I haven't spoken about, is Senesi, who is the fourth defender, and also Rodon last on the bench. I think it's also important to mention why I've gone for Senesi here, because the fixtures for Bournemouth are actually not very good from game week 8 to game week 11 or 12. I'm very aware of that situation, that fixtures aren't good. But the thing with Senesi is that I plan to bench boost in game week 9 and he has Nottingham Forest. So I will take my chance here that Senesi against Forest will keep a clean sheet. And also that from game week 12 onwards, I will want Senesi either way. So it saves me a transfer and also gives me a good enough bench boost in game week 9. So that's with Senesi. Rodon here, obviously in game week 8, he plays Burnley. I could start him ahead of Diouf, but I think Diouf has a bit of a higher ceiling. And then for Rodon in game week 9, he will play West Ham. And West Ham also, I mean, obviously I have Diouf here. If Rodon does score a bullet header, it'll probably means that Diouf doesn't keep a clean sheet. But Rodon is really good for DEFCON as well. So he's here as also someone in mind for bench boost in game week 9. And yeah, just a bench fodder. So there we go with my final game week 8 wildcard draft that I think I'm very likely to stick with. Obviously, deadline stream will happen as always 3 hours before the deadline. This will be a big one, locking in my wildcard. But now let me just show you guys a bit of the transfer tinkering to show you for game week 9, how my bench boost will look like. Going with this draft, I am almost 99.5% sure that I'll be bench boosting in game week 9. And I want to show you guys the bench and also my plans for Diouf that I've just brought in here in place of Dan Burn to sell him for Richards in game week 10 and why I think that could work out quite well as well. So here is my final game week 8 wildcard draft exactly as shown in the graphic just now. And the first thing I want to point out is that this minus 0.4 million is not actually the case. I can afford this draft with an excess of 0.2 million in the bank, and that's because over the course of the international break, I've managed to catch a couple of price rises for these players. So I do have an excess 0.2, and that will come in very handy when I show you guys the game week 10 transfer that I plan to make with this team. But at least for now, I want to show you guys game week 9. And game week 9 is when I plan to bench boost. I'm pretty set on this. And the picks that I've gone for in game week 8 on the wild card was mainly with this bench boost in mind, especially with the bench players. So here Dubravka has Wolves, and then Caicedo here has Sunderland. Great fixtures for majority of these bench players. And then you look at Senesi here having Nottingham Forest at home. This is the main reason why I'm still happy enough to go for Senesi. Even though game week 8 he plays Crystal Palace, that's not actually very good. Game week 9, this is when I want him for Nottingham Forest on my bench. And then in game week 10 it's City, and game week 11 is Villa, and both are away. So I know that Game Week 8 to Game Week 11 fixtures are not good, but it's mainly because of the Game Week 9 fixture that I want him here. And then from Game Week 12 onwards, the fixtures look pretty good. So this is when I definitely want Senesi. So having him here on the Game Week 8 wildcard draft already saves me money, but not only that, also gives me a good bench in a Game Week 9. So he's in here with that in mind. And then for Rodon, I don't really, in terms of looking at 4.0 million defenders, I don't really want to go for Estef from Burnley and double up on Burnley because I already have Dubravka here against Wolves. And then in terms of Sunderland assets, if I do go for someone like an Alderete, who currently is a bit of a doubt as well, he plays Chelsea, so that's not great. So in terms of fixture-wise, Leeds, a 4.0 Leeds asset here in Rodon has the best fixture against West Ham. Granted that he plays against Bowen. If Bowen scores, Rodon doesn't keep a clean sheet. But that said, I do think Rodon does have good death con potential as well. And it's pretty hard to get all your players not to play each other on a bench boost. So I'm okay with Rodon in here as my 4.0 million bench fodder on the bench boost for Game Week 9. And I'm happy enough with this. So hopefully all players stay fit for Game Week 9 and come out of Game Week 8 unscathed. And looking at now Game Week 10, this is when defensively I struggle a little bit. Newcastle here for Diouf. And then on the bench, Senesi has Man City. And this is when you see that Rodon here has Brighton in Game Week 10. So not ideal. And overall, I think this is a week where I can start to weigh in on some transfers, and this is when that access point tool, as I've mentioned just now, will allow me to do Diouf to Richards. So doing Diouf to Richards firstly gives me a slightly better fixture here in Game Week 10, but also brings forward a transfer that I plan to actually have in Game Week 13. I'm bringing it forward a little bit to Game Week 10 to give me better fixtures here. And when I just fast forward to Game Week 13 now to show you guys the overall plans that I have and what I want to get to by Game Week 13, because Game Week 13 is another fixture swing. Firstly, this Richards move was already brought forward. And then in terms of the other transfers, the other 4 transfers that I plan to make in Game Week 13 is Timber to Van Dijk, Bowen to Obi to free up funds so that I can do Voltemada up to Isak and Enzo to Reinders. So in terms of what this allows me to do then is come to a draft in Game Week 13 where I have double Man City. And this is when Man City's fixtures are very good. I also have double Liverpool in Van Dijk and Isak, double Bournemouth, Senesi and Semenyo against Sunderland, double Crystal Palace, Richards and Sarr, and also double Arsenal in Gabriel and Saka. So I'm happy enough, even though they play Chelsea, to keep Arsenal assets for a while. So overall, and then obviously there's Pope. So overall, by Game Week 13, I want to be able to reach a team like this. So I've mapped out the transfers already. Obviously, I know that not everything goes according to the fairy tale, but at least I do have a strategy to get to this team, and then I will adapt it along the way. So going back all the way to Game Week 8 now, this is how the team looks. Let me know what you think of my final Game Week 8 wildcard draft. And if you are on a wildcard as well, drop your team in the comments down below. I want to see how it looks like, and also let's have a bit of a discussion. If not, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please do drop a like. Please do subscribe as well. Thank you for helping to hit 12k subscribers on the channel. And I will see you guys on the deadline stream as always, 3 hours before the deadline. This one is a big one. I will be locking in my wildcard. So I'll catch all of you guys there, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.